Now, much ado about nothing is one way to summarize the Trump-Kim summit in Hanoi. In simple words, the summit ended without any agreement. The two sides were far apart on key issues: disarmament of nuclear weapons and relief from sanctions. Donald Trump just walked away from it, and the reason: he cannot accept North Korea's demands to lift all U.S. sanctions.
Basically, they wanted the sanctions lifted in their entirety, and we couldn't do that. They were willing to denuke a large portion of the areas that we wanted, but we couldn't give up all of the sanctions for that. So we continue to work, and we'll see, but we had to walk away from that particular suggestion. We had to walk away from that.
Trump still says that the talks were productive and that Kim Jong-un is quite a character and a guy. But Trump did not come all the way to Vietnam to give a certificate to the North Korean dictator, did he?
Left, we spent pretty much all day with Kim Jong-un, who is he's quite a guy and quite a character, and I think our relationship is very strong. But at this time, we had some options, and at this time we decided not to do any of the options, and we'll see where that goes. But it was a very interesting 2 days, and I think actually it was a very productive 2 days, but sometimes you have to walk.
So where does this lead to? There's no indication that the two leaders will sit for another summit, but Donald Trump is in no rush to strike a deal, it seems. He wants to strike the right deal, and there is no clarity on what this so-called right deal is. North Korea wants to escape the sanctions, and they have promised to denuclearize, promises that the country has not kept for decades. And Donald Trump's statement after the abrupt end to the talks is more ambiguous than the summit itself.
Can you just give us a little more detail? Did you get into the question of actually dismantling the Yongbyon complex?
Yes, absolutely.
And does he seem willing ultimately to take all of that out?
Sure, totally.
He does. He just wants all the sanctions off first.
He would do that, but he wants the sanctions for that. And as you know, there's plenty left after that.
North Korea is not pessimistic, though, and Kim Jong-un says that he has a feeling that good results will come out soon. So is this meeting all about a hunch for positive relationships, we ask?
Well, it's too early to tell. But I wouldn't say that I'm pessimistic. But from what I feel right now, I do have a feeling that good results would come out.
South Korea, China and other countries for whom these talks mean a lot are happy that the two leaders at least came together. Talks were progressive is the general assessment. But what exactly progressed is anybody's guess.
트럼프 대통령과 김정은 국무위원장이 오늘 정상회담에서 완전한 합의에 이르지 못한 점은 아쉽게 생각합니다.
就中方而言，我想说呢，实际上大家都能看到，在过去1年多来，朝鲜半岛局势出现了重大的转机。那么半岛问题重新回到了政治解决的正确轨道，应当说这一成果来之不易，值得珍惜。
The two leaders have tried to use these talks to further their political mileage. Further details are awaited as to why the talks ended even before the scheduled lunch. So is it back to square one? After all, the hype about peace in the Korean peninsula has not been lived up to. US wants North Korea to give up all its nuclear weapons to get relief from sanctions. North Korea wants full relief from sanctions to end its nuclear program. It's a bit of a vicious cycle. It's a classic case of who blinks first, and nobody did that in Vietnam. It feels more like the normal service will resume on North Korea, and that's such a shame, we say. The nuclear summit between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un may have ended without an agreement, but the Vietnamese people were tremendously excited. They took pride in their country being the venue of this iconic meeting. Here's a report.
Hanoi residents welcomed US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un as they took pride in their home city being the venue of the historic event. The streets were lined with North Korean and US flags featuring the iconic handshake.
Hà Nội là vai trò cầu nối tất nhiên rất lớn với hai nước này ạ. Em hy vọng mối quan hệ này sẽ tốt đẹp hơn rất là nhiều ạ sau cuộc hội nghị này ạ.
Việt Nam chúng tôi là một đất nước mà yêu chuộng hòa bình, Hà Nội là một thành phố rất là yêu chuộng hòa bình, và nhân cái việc tổ chức cái sự kiện lần này ấy, có sự bắt tay ngồi xuống đàm phán giữa hai ông Kim Jong-un và Donald Trump.
Vietnamese people were caught up in the excitement of the summit and were just hoping for a glimpse of the two leaders.
Nhân dân Việt Nam và riêng bản thân cá nhân tôi là rất phấn khởi, bởi vì trước hết là được đón một cái tổng thống của tổng thống và Mỹ và ông Kim.
Và em cũng khá là hồi hộp để chờ xem hai cái vị gọi là nguyên thủ quốc gia khá là nổi tiếng trên thế giới. Một người là về vấn đề kinh tế cũng như chính sách, còn một người thì em nghĩ nổi tiếng hơn hết là về vấn đề trong quân sự cũng như là hạt nhân.
Artists put up paintings of the two leaders showing their support and admiration for them.
Tôi rất muốn là Tổng thống Donald Trump và Kim Jong-un nếu mà có điều kiện ghé thăm xưởng vẽ của tôi và xem tranh tôi sẽ mời hai tổng thống ly cà phê.
Mặc dù ông Donald Trump bị rất nhiều dư luận và hay gọi là fake news nói về ông ấy những từ rất là xấu xí, những từ bệnh hoạn, khùng điên, rồi dâm dục, rồi vân vân, rất là từ xấu. Nhưng mà với tôi nghĩ rằng là
While some chose to paint the iconic leaders, others took it a step further. The famous Kim Jong-un and Trump impersonators made a fancy appearance for the crowds. Trump and Kim became the latest style icons too, as residents of Hanoi were getting haircuts to look like their favorite leader.
Vì tôi thích kiểu tóc của ông Donald Trump nên tôi mới làm tóc kiểu ông Donald Trump.
Từ khi cháu cắt kiểu tóc này, các bạn nhìn thấy cháu và cháu rất giống ông Kim Jong-un.
Amidst all the excitement and fanfare, Kim Jong-un arrived in Hanoi on the 26th after a 2.5-day journey from Pyongyang. Air Force One carrying Donald Trump touched down in Hanoi the same day. The two leaders held meetings on the 27th and 28th. This summit was supposed to build on their initial historic meeting at Singapore that critics said was more style over substance. But little seems to have come out of this highly anticipated event. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.